Good day, everyone. Welcome to A Moment with Teach Frey. I am Denisha Fraser, master teacher in Jamaica. This is the segment for my educators. This week, we will reflect on the successes of online teaching. Teachers, how have you been with the online modality of lesson delivery? Let's press into today's segment. No matter how well we think we are performing, as educators, we must pause at intervals to reflect on our level of effectiveness. Otherwise, we might be enthusiastically building in error. Today, I want us to pause and reflect on the online teaching which we have been administering for the past several months. How have you been, and how are your students? I will provide you with 10 reflective points. Point number 1. Have you been emotionally intelligent? This is needed in a crisis more than any other time. As much as our life has been affected, so has the lives of your students. Amidst these prevailing circumstances, the educator must keep in touch with the realities of the learner. Do you know the situation that your learner is facing? What challenges are they dealing with? 2. Have you been going the extra mile? The measures that you take should mitigate some of the challenges which the learners are experiencing. Are your assignment timelines unnecessarily rigid? Point 3. Have you been attending to the individual learner? In the virtual classroom, you must reach out to greet individual students the way you would in the traditional classroom. Have you been pausing to have conversations about random things that interest your learners? Do you know how they have been doing and how they have been coping? Being caring is an element of motivation. 4. Have you been planning with the whole constituent in mind? I have observed as educators have gotten excited about the various platforms and applications available to aid in the online learning, they might have inadvertently made choices that have been detrimental to some students. Can your students access all the materials you've been sharing? 5. Have you been teaching in bite sizes? Online learning can be very overwhelming, especially for students who depend on elements of human presence to grasp concepts quickly. Therefore, to keep learners motivated as they attain new knowledge, the educator must be strategic in the volume of new content being shared. Is your feedback loop effective and being used for future planning? If you are just joining us, we are tuned into the segment A Moment with Teach Frey, and today we are reflecting on the effectiveness of online teaching. To this point, I have shared 5 points of reflection, namely, have you been emotionally intelligent? Have you been going the extra mile for your learners? Have you been attending to the individual learner? Have you been planning with the whole constituent in mind? And have you been teaching in bite sizes? We are heading into 5 additional points of reflection for the educators in regard to online teaching. Point 6. Have you been providing adequate learning support? To keep learners motivated, the educator must be available to offer guidance to struggling students. You must be aware that the learners who seem brightest in the traditional setting may struggle a lot in the virtual setup. Have you been providing enough examples and supporting materials to assist the learners? 7. How well have you been using formative assessment activities? It is better to do a small assessment task as the lesson progresses than to wait for the end of a topic or unit to do testing. This is true online as it is in the traditional setup. Don't you want the learners to see themselves attaining mastery bit by bit? 8. Do you offer detailed feedback in a timely manner? The learners will only remain motivated if they can track their progress. They also want an opportunity to improve their output, and since the goal is mastery, the educator should accommodate the students in this area. How about providing feedback within 3 days of the task being assigned or having received the students' responses? 9. Do you have an effective reward system? There are methods online used as scoreboards which could be used to rank students and offer healthy peer competition. It is advisable that the ranking focuses on capturing at least the top 30% to heighten healthy competition. Using an application such as Scorekeeper might be a great idea. How have you been celebrating your learners? And my 10th point of reflection, have you been using any of the traditional motivational techniques? The methods of using stamps and stickers never grow old. It works even better for children and teens. What digital stamps have you been using with your students? As a bonus, let me say, please remember that student motivation can never grow old. It has been one of the finest methods used to keep many hundreds of learners on task when they couldn't think of another reason to do so. Keep at it, my educators. Online teaching might be more challenging than the traditional face-to-face model, but let's do what we can do to make it work. You are stronger than you know. Innovation is what we do. Keep evolving and your students will be better for it. Teachers all, keep doing your best for these lovely children. Until next time, this is Teach Frey. Love and peace.